Hi folks, and welcome back to part 2 of the little mini series from box to base. And in front of you, you can see the border grenz that have been undercoated, although there are the odd little bit that I've missed there, but never mind, I'll go over those again before I start painting. But as you can see with the grey, it even more highlights the detail on the figures as well, making it just that little bit more easier to paint, as well as giving the paint itself a nice base to start off with. So for this I used the I'm a Beta Ash Grey. As I said before in the first part, if I get a chance to spray, I usually use the Halford's Grey primer for the cars, but as I say, it doesn't happen very often here in the UK, so often or not I find myself painting the undercoats. So that's what I've used for the undercoat itself. So the next part is to look at the palette you're going to use, or the colours you're going to use for the actual figures themselves. So for the jackets, I'm going to go for a leather brown because they're quite a dark brown, and when I do the wash over the top of the model, that'll take it down in tone slightly darker as well. So for the jackets, I'm going for the dark blue, and I'm going to go for white for straps and webbing. So for that I'm going to go for the white. For the trousers themselves, I'm going to go for a crystal blue, nice deep blue, to accentuate the nice blue trousers. And I'm going to go for the red collar and cuffs, so pure red. And I always like to do my metallics actually in metallic paint. I know a lot of people out there are really good at doing non-metallics, but I just can't get on with it myself. So and these are for the wargaming table as well, so you know, to give them that just a little bit more definition, like a metallic paints. Yellow for the trousers definitions and stuff, lace work. I'm going to go for a demonic yellow, and obviously blacks for the boots and shakos. Skin tones, I must admit I prefer viola paints myself personally, just a personal choice. There's army painters do some nice skin tones as well, but this is just a personal choice. I like to use the sunny skin tone. That's the coat I put on first. Once all the paint is done, as I like to call it, the block colours, that's basically painting the figure from top to toe. I then go over the whole figure with a strong tone wash. It's just a technique that I like to use. It speeds up the painting process. There is a method of tri-painting, as in 3 different colours to take the tone and shading. I've never really got on with that. I've used it in the past on just one-off skirmish figures, but these are actually, you know, figures for the wargaming table. And personal myself, I don't like to go crazy with the detail. You know, I just want to get the guys on the table and start playing war games with them. So the detail is okay, but I don't go crazy with the detail. So with that, I'll come back to you with the first process, which will be the block colours, which will be the figure painted up, and then we'll look at the wash, which is the dark tone wash. I'll be back soon. Hi folks, thought I'd just pop back in while I'm painting. As you see, I started off with the brown tunic, or top I should say, and obviously when you're painting you want to water your paints down. I wouldn't go 50-50, I'd go sort of 75% paint and 25% water. It just makes the paint flow much better over the model, stops you from losing your detail as well, and close I can get with this. But you can see I'm not that accurate painting the first layer of the tunic on. This is after a second coat. It's always better to do 2 light coats rather than 1 thick coat. Don't have to be that accurate to start off, but obviously the closer you get to finishing the model, the more accurate you have to be with your paintbrush. Yeah, so start off with a figure. I generally paint my figures in batches of 6 as well. Stops any sort of boredom setting in or tedium setting in as well. Just makes things a lot better to paint as well. So that's my daylight bulb on my painting lamp that's messing around, giving it a flickering light. But yeah, so I'll pop back in again, and I'll hopefully have the top coats of the figures painted, and we'll have a look at washes. Hi folks, just thought I'd quickly jump in back again. Quick word on painting metallic. So we're almost there with the main coat of the figures, but what I like to do when it comes to painting metallics, I like to put a little bit of black on first. Quite sure you'll be able to pick this out, but the buttons and the sword, anything else that's going to be painted with metallics, I just like to put a bit of black or dark brown when it comes to the muskets. It just highlights and picks out the metallic colour just a little bit better. So yeah, almost there. I'll pop back in a little while. And back again as well. Just quick a word on painting yellows. A bit of a tricky colour. It's a very, very weak pigment. So if you give your model a quick coat of something nice light brown, I mean I use skin tone myself, but a very, very light beige perhaps, would it just helps to pick out the yellow, and just defines it a lot better when it comes to the final finished miniature. So yeah, almost done for these 6, and I'll come back again when it comes to looking at doing a wash. So there we have it. The miniatures are finished and block painted. So basically all the detail and everything is all painted in. For the muskets, I went for a war paint dark oak. For the rolls on the top, I used the ash grey, which I used for the undercoating. For the backpacks, I've used a desert yellow, and for the little knapsack, as I call it, I've gone for a skeleton bone. And so the figure itself is finished. Some people like to call it there and base them up. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what I do is I add a wash over the top, and for that I use, I've seen this before, the strong tone from Army Painter. And what I've done is I've already put a dark tone wash on one of the figures themselves already. As you can see, it picks out even more highlights, gives the figure a little bit more definition, and drops everything down a tone, so to speak. So if you look at the difference, figures side by side, you can see how much it's dropped the tones down, exaggerated the details a little bit more on the trousers and everything else. But what it has done is taken the tone right down. It's also added sort of a matte finish to the figure as well. Again, some people finish at that point and base the figures up, but what I do is I just go over the areas that I want to exaggerate a little bit more, particularly the tunics, the trousers, obviously the whites and stuff like that, and the yellows. I generally leave the knapsack and rolls as they are because it really does define them quite well. So you use the same colours that you did before, so the blue and the red and the tunics as well. You get that's the tunic colours, and what I do is, as I say, I just lightly highlight the areas that stick out a little bit more. So and for that I don't dilute the paint at all, and it's straight out of the bottle, so it's got that little bit more thicker, deeper consistency to the paint, so it highlights a little bit better. And that's basically what all I do. I finish up with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these 6 figures and show you the finished results at the end of that. So I'll be back with you soon. And there you have it, the first 6 completed. This is the command group, and take a bit of a closer look. All the highlighting has been completed on the jackets, the trousers, and the yellows and the facing colours, and the face is pretty much what I've concentrated on. I've left the rest, like the backpack, the knapsack and everything else, has all been left. Just the white straps and webbing on the figures. So there you have it. That's my method of painting 28mm Napoleonics. It's something nice and basic. The figures are not going to win any painting competitions, but it does mean that you can get units painted up quite quickly, and it's a much easier method that I've found myself to get figures painted up quickly and get them on the wargaming table. Next up, I'll finish them off, the next 12 off, then we'll concentrate on basing. This is a unit of Austrian regulars, and as I say, the painting's basic, but when you've got them all grouped together on a nice large base like this, it makes them look the part, ready for the wargaming table. So in part 3 of the mini-series, I'll be concentrating on basing and how I base my last bases for the figures. So yeah, I'll leave part 2 here, and I'll come back to you soon with part 3. As always, thanks for taking the time to watching the video, and any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And as always, bye for now.